And with that, I welcome you to the first episode of this new project. 1 second. To this new project, as I said in the channel trailer, I will link down below said channel trailer where I'm going to explain the ground concept for every single project on this channel, for the ground concept of these Let's Plays, so you don't have to ask me or ask yourself what this is all about. Just watch this short 4-minute video. You don't even have to watch everything, just the first few minutes, and then you can truly understand what the ground rules are, what the concept is, etc, etc. Now, for this Let's Play, I've had set up some house rules. And of course, as I said, I want to do this very historically, not accurate, but historically inspired. So this is going to be, the case now. I'm going to read you the house rules so you can get an idea if you want to read them yourself. They're always being linked down below. And I'm going to explain or tell you the story on how we got here to, as you might probably see on the banner, to the Duchy of Brandenburg. So yeah, to start that I have to let you wait a second because I forgot to set everything up. Alright, now that I set all up, what are the house rules? I want to start them off with them because they are, well, you know, just to glance over them so you know, have a general idea. Okay, so to start off, first chapter, the big three. I'm just going to read them out loud and maybe add a few things, some like telling how I imagine it's going to be, how I want it to be, how this rule works. Going to explain that just a bit, not going too much into detail. Again, if you want to read it for yourself, link down below. The first chapter are the big three. The first rule for this Let's Play is going to be that the character plays the game. So this guy is going to play Markgrave Lothar Udo II of Nordmark. He's going to play the game and going to do the decisions and gives the game the direction. That means if I am greedy and I get a decision where I can either take money from someone and he's mad at me, or not do it and then he likes me more, I'm going to take the money. It is rationally bad, I shouldn't do it, but my character is greedy, so we're going to play it in that fashion. The second rule, I'm not perfect. If I make wrong or oversee better decisions, please be so kind and overlook that. No, you don't even have to overlook it. You can of course commentate on it or even say, yeah, I would rather have took that or that decision. But I just wanted to tell you that I'm not going to proclaim or even try to be the best at this. It is just a fun little project that we're going to play and I'm going to regulate myself. But if I do some bad things or some mishaps, please be so kind, overlook it. Yeah, just don't put it under my nose. It isn't even mean as a bad thing. I'm even like, I don't want to hear any comments on my playstyle or anything. Just so that you know there are and will be mistakes been made. The third rule, matrilineal marriages are turned off because they did not exist in medieval Europe for the most part. Now, this of course is a big change. Again, I'm just going to maybe at the end going to scroll down to the game rules that I put on so that you can read them through if you want. But we're only going to look at one big one. Matrilineal marriages. Matrilineal marriages are never allowed, and you see the warning. As a female ruler, it might be very hard to avoid game over and produce an heir of your own dynasty. That is of course something very big. Now, as I said, why did I do it? It didn't really exist in medieval Europe, and I think this eliminates a bit the fun of medieval Europe, if you know what I mean. Throughout medieval Europe, there was always a patrilineal culture. That means the man gets everything. He owns the land, he owns the woman, and his dynasty is going to be passed on. This is the reason why the Habsburgian Empire was so large, because of the marriages they did with female rulers and with that taking over that land. And I think this matrilineal marriage system that is in CK2 kinda eliminates this fun part of the game, of expanding your territory to see dynasties rose through power without war and just through marriage. So yeah, that would be very fun to see how this plays out. Also, because we play HIP, the Historical Immersion Project, if you want to let me make a deep dive explanation, review, whatever of this mod, let me know down below. I'm not going to do it here. This mod changes most of the inheritance laws, I think not for counts, but mostly for dukes and above, to agnatic, meaning only male can inherit. Not of course every single province, like the Duchy of Lower Lorraine is agnatic cognatic, but every single kingdom is agnatic. I think some have some have little, you know, there are some cultures and some regions who have little exceptions. For example, the Navarra kingdom is agnatic cognatic. Yeah, there's also Aragon, I think also Barcelona then. No, it's agnatic primogeniture, and Leon, of course, is a agnatic gavelkind. And you see throughout Europe there will be, it will be more difficult to expand through marriage. This is just for the mod. I cannot really change that much. So yeah, male male man will play a more bigger role in this little fun experiment project, or whatever you want to call it. Those are the big 3 rules. Now there of course are other big rules. For example, territorial expansion can only partake if the character has first the ambitious trait, second the greedy trait, or third has any other claim or justification for the war. Now, ambitious means you're playing like you normally do. You just try to conquer as much as you can, become as powerful as you can. Greedy, on the other hand, as I thought, doesn't mean that right away. It doesn't mean that we just want to conquer as much as we can. It rather more means, in a sense, that this little mod that I put on, the trade routes mod for HIP, basically means that if we see these little trade posts, for example in Magdeburg or Lüneburg, that we as a greedy character would play off to get these provinces, to get the potential trade post or even the established trade post, to gather more money. This means with greedy has a casus belli, another casus belli. Now, any other claim or justification for the war is, for example, here we see it, we are zealous and we have on our border a Slavic pagan Wendish Lutetians, who of course are a target of war and we have a permanent casus belli on them. But we cannot just expand if we don't have any of these traits. For example here, the Bernhard II, a content, shy and honest guy. If I would play him, I wouldn't expand at all. So to put it on a perspection. The request council support decision can only be taken once. Why did I do that? The decision to take the request council support is very, very powerful in my own opinion, and it eliminates the fun with councils, with these different opinions and these different factions in your own council that you have to play with, that you have to embark with. But yeah, you see it here. Request council support, even though he doesn't want to, I just can send him a little gift and he's on my side. You can, with that, always, well, kind of disable the council and just let it be for you all the time. And getting a favor from them that they can change their own laws if they want to doesn't happen as often as a duke or as a count even. It is very, very easy to control your own council, and with that I just want to make it a bit more difficult and a bit more entertaining to play with the council. And the last one is not that major. I cannot read it out of a battle because AI can't do either. It is self-explanatory. Chapter 3, Dowries. Now, dowry is an entire rule on its own because it is quite complicated, but still something that is just going to add a bit more tactic into the game. Yeah, you see it here. I put in another mod. It is called the custom gift mod. With that, I can do that one and then send someone my own little amount of gold, which plays in with the rest of the role, because it was a huge part of medieval and in some cases even in today's society. So there will be a house rule for dowries. That will happen in a new mod. They can decide to send a certain amount of money to other characters. To start off, what is even a dowry? For people who don't know that, a dowry is a gift that the father of his one second. A dowry is when the father or the daughter of someone, or your daughter, is going to be married, and you as the father will provide financial, well, in some cases aid to the husband. So if the husband passes on early, the wife of that husband can live on in a life of peace, in a stable life. So this is going to be represented with this gold mod, and I put on a little calculation for that. It is as it follows. count or duke 1 to 2 counties in our own domain has to send 50 gold to the husband. A count or duke who has 3 to 5 counties has to send 100 gold. A count or duke with 6 counties and above has to send 150 gold. A king has then to send 200 gold, and an emperor has to send then 400 gold. So this is the calculation for that, meaning we as a markgrave, which is basically a duke with only 2 demands or only 2 domains, has to send 50 gold to the future husband of our daughter. Yes, this will be also a little gameplay feature I hopefully don't forget while playing. And yeah, that would be also a house rule. The 4th chapter will be playing as a child. When I play as a child character age 0 to 16, I will play as the regent, not the ruler. That does not mean that I represent his full character, because it would be too much. I will only take his character traits into consideration. Meaning, if I play a child now in the future, I will then only take his character traits, meaning if I was right now the regent and I am, for example, zealous, and there will be a decision where someone wants to be, I don't know, hereditary, or someone is too sinful, I will do something against it. But I will not completely play the character. That would be just too much to interpretate him for just, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. So we're just going to take in his character traits into consideration. The 5th chapter is the sketchy cheat engine. As you see right here, I have this little engine here, enables sketchy cheat menu. Why did I put it on? It is just for bug fixes and for, in general, if something sketchy happens, if something happens that shouldn't happen. And in general, if I have to something to differ something, I will do it with that menu. I just want to be open about it and transparent, so you know that I use this mod. And yeah, I don't want going to use it for my own benefits. I mean, it would be unbelievably lame to then cheat in this whole thing. This is the whole purpose of this, that we try to roleplay as a historical leader. And of course, you couldn't just put on God cheat and do what he wants. Another big thing is the game rule of... Where is it? Non-dynastic succession. If the player has a non-dynastic heir and dies or abdicates, then they will continue the game as the heir, with their heir's dynasty, avoiding game over. This does not apply to Romans, nomads, or republics. This is a big rule. This is a very big rule, because that means we can basically not lose, unless we lose every single title. Of course, I wanted to... Why did I put on this rule? Not because I wanted to let this just rule on over time, but that I wanted to have the option to let it run over time. If I ever change the dynasty of the Udonen without creating a cadet branch, which you can actually do. I think I put on the mod where you can create cadet branches. Maybe not, I'm probably going to put it in. If I ever started to not play a Udonen anymore, and I start to play, I don't know, a Katlenburg or someone else, I'm going to stop the project. For then, I'm going to ask you guys if you either want me to continue playing or to stop the project altogether and to start a new project. Yeah, this is going to be the house rules for now. Of course, there will be some new added. There will, of course, be 6 chapters and a lot more maybe when we continue playing, when we see something which is broken. And every single time when I'm going to update the rules, I'm going to announce it at the start of the video, going to explain the rule, and then we're going to continue. Another big thing is, as I said, those episodes will be mostly 20 minutes to 25 minutes. Now this prologue will of course be a bit longer because I have to explain everything. But yeah, those episodes will be mostly 20 minutes to 25 minutes. And also, I'm going to try in the future and upload another game. I'm going to announce it when it comes. And then there will be a day break between those. That means I will upload this project, and the other project, and then this project again, and the other project. Just because I wanted to let you guys have some time between those 2 projects. Because when I personally watch Let's Plays, it is always very, very annoying if they put it out in a half-hour brackets. When I then miss one, I then have to rewatch an entire hour, because then I have to watch the first one that I missed and then the next one, which is just a bit much, I think. And putting them into 20 minutes and then also a day pause, so you can miss a day without having to rewatch 5 hours of content. I just think it is the better option, and also 20 minutes is a bit shorter, a bit more compact, a bit more, yeah, just more tasty, a bit more concentrated content. So this will be the ground rules for this project and the future projects to come, and the house rules for this save game. Now, coming to the history part. Who are we? Why do we call Lothar Udo II? Why are we the Count of Nordmark? And why does this look like Brandenburg but isn't called Brandenburg? We're going to answer all of these questions. To start off, what is a Markgrave? A Markgrave is, in the Holy Roman Empire sense, a dukedom, a duchy which is located on the border. And this already raises some questions. For example, why is this the Duchy of Saxony even though it borders Denmark and this little high chiefdom of Obotritia? And why is this called the Duchy of Lower Lorraine? And all of these are duchies, but then this is just a county. Now, grave... so, yeah, there are a lot of questions about that. But to start off, the Markgraves are mostly located at the eastern border of the Holy Roman Empire, mostly. Of course, there are some exceptions, for example, Bohemia, but it is made out of the Markgraviate of Moravia. And we are such Markgrave. Now, the Markgrave of Nordmark was created by this guy, Duke Bernhard of Nordmark, which is also called the Count of Nordmark. He is the creator of this Nordmark. After he died, his son Wilhelm took over the Nordmark. And he died while trying to make a little expansion into the chiefdom of Lutetia. He died then, and after he died, the Emperor Heinrich III, or Heinrich II, one of them, gave the title to our father, Lothar Udo I. Lothar Udo I, which brought us into the line of succession of the Udonen or the Nordmark. And he then also made a revenge military campaign into Lutetia, and he also died, which is why we are now the Duke of Nordmark. To our dynasty, the Udonen. The Udonen are a dynasty, and we're going to put out everyone who is not from our dynasty. The Udonen are a dynasty which were created back in the day in the old Saxon kingdom. And yes, the Saxon kingdom who stood against the Frankish Empire. The name comes from this guy, Udo of Oldenburg. He made then the dynasty, and until then it was just a Saxon dynasty located in Oldenburg, this little province right here. This dynasty basically just were then relocated from Oldenburg to Stade, then became the Counts of Stade, and with that we became then the Dukes or the Markgraves of Nordmark. Nothing very interesting about it. But what is interesting is our mother. And with that we come, of course, to the next section, which is, who are we? What is our family? Who are we, well, related to? What is it all about? Now, we ourselves, which is also a big part about this Let's Play, we're going to always, when we start off, explain the character and, well, set the direction for the game. And who are we? We are Markgrave Lothar Udo II of Nordmark. We are a fortune builder. The fortune builder came out of an adolescence armed with a well-honored business sense, determined to live a life of luxury. Of course, this gives us martial 1, diplomacy -1, stewardship +6, learning +1, and fertility +10. A very good how do you call it again? Profession. Then we are a hunchback. This character is cursed with a humpback, which is despised by vassals and ugly in the eyes of the opposite sex. This gives us 1 minus martial opinion, some attraction opinion, minus attraction opinion, some vassal opinion minus, and some same trait opinion plus. Then we are a Novice Fighter. This character understands the basics of combat, but is sloppy, overconfident, and inexperienced. Of course, not that great. We are also Digilant. This character is dutiful and Digilant, the 4th of the 7 virtues, Industria. We have +2 movement speeds, we have moral defense +2, we have martial, we have a lot of traits, plus this is a very, very good trait. We have a vassal opinion and a same trait opinion. Now, Digilant, of course, also means that we are a very, very, well, yeah, Digilant character. We just love to work, we love to make everything very, very sufficient and efficient. And we will see how this is going to play out, which also means, yeah, we're just going to work a lot. We're also temperate, which means we are very, very set down and not like to overeat, for example, and live a life in luxury, actually. Because this character believes in the virtue temperantia, moderation, a value betrayed in Rulers and Stewards. As it says, we can also call temperate a bit like greedy in a sense, or, you know, like Dagobert Duck. He is a very character who just doesn't like to spend a lot of money. I will search up the term later on, but right now I don't really have the correct term for that. So yeah, that means we will not live a life in big luxury or in big food culture. That means also when we get the trade fed, we always... I'm very sorry. I'm going to turn my cell phone down. I'm very sorry, I forgot that. Okay. So as I said, we're going to just be a temperate guy. Also, we are lustful though. Lust, or Lakasudia, the first deadly sin, inflames this character. This carnal desires are not appreciated by the church and might also cause problems out of the martial bed, or martial bed. Also, yeah, basically just meaning we like to do intercourse with other people, which kind of bites itself with our next trait, Zealous. This character burns with religious fever and cannot tolerate heretics, infidels, or heathens. This will, of course, bring us a lot of character. That means just that we are a very zealous person, we love the Christian faith, and we are a true and believing Christian. Unless, of course, it goes to, well, how do you say this? We lust, when it comes to lust, basically. We also arbitrary. This character could not care less about justice, a character flaw that is not appreciated by vassals and courtiers. This, of course, means we will just, yeah, make the life as make our life as we wanted to, make our court as we wanted to, and our justice systems just as we decided to do. Also meaning we don't really care about, let's say, lawful things, maybe even all conquering things with the unjust conquest thing, but of course with a justification for it. But yeah, we just live our life as we wanted to, and we'll try to maybe even scam other people. Okay, this is the character. Coming to our little relations. Now we have on our own, when it comes to the family, a very interesting family branch. This, our mother, Adelheid Kuoning, our mother, yeah, she's already dead, but she has a sibling, Count Kuno of Rheinfelden, our uncle, and he has a child. This is Duke Rudolf of Swabia, which of course is very interesting, to have a ally, or rather someone related to you in Swabia, a very powerful king, dukedom of the von Rheinfelden dynasty. He also likes us very much, but yeah, because he is just a cousin, we cannot do anything diplomatically. But still, to put it in back our heads, also I'm going to mark him as a very interesting character, or a character of interest, special interest. This will be very interesting to see what we can do out of it. Other than that, someone who is historically in our own history, and did we talk about us? Well, historically, Margrave Lothar Udo did something with the north here. Most importantly, Archbishop Adalbert of Bremen and the Duke Bernhard II of Saxony of the Billung Dynasty. Well, the Billung Dynasty and the Udonen never really liked each other. We came into a lot of quarrels between us two, but most importantly, we made a very big war against Archbishop Adalbert, who had a lot of influence into the Emperor Heinrich III, mostly known as Heinrich IV. So he's going to play a bit, historically he played a big role. I think personally we don't really care about him in gameplay wise. And we also came into a lot of quarrels with the Billungen. And we once even made a little conspiracy against the king in, I think it was Bardovik, in this little town. We made a conspiracy together with the Duke of Saxony, the Archbishop of Bremen, and the Duke of Bavaria. We made together with him a justification for a war, which was then called the Sachsenkriege against Emperor Heinrich IV. Yeah, this was his history. This was his little history take, and then we kinda lost the. We kinda made a armistice between us two, and we were then the appeaser between the two sides, the negotiator. So yeah, this is like his little history break. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of influence and a lot of character interaction with Duke Bernhard II, because I saw that his daughter Hedwig has no husband, and actually he would agree to a marriage between us two, which of course would be fantastic to have this very powerful duke as our little, as our ally. That would be of course very, very big. Also, we have to take a look, closer look when we become bigger and bigger, to Margrave Dedo II of Lusatia, a very, very important and very powerful Thuringian Margraviate of the von Wettin dynasty, the dynasty which actually founded later that age the original Kingdom of Saxony and the original Duke, Duchy of Saxony, because the Duchy of Saxony kind of migrated from up here down here, and this became the, well, somewhat Dukedom of Hanover. Just a little history break there. So yeah, they're going to be partake a very huge role. Also, this is our de jure territory of the Duchy of Nordmark, and we have to probably conquer then this stuff. We have to conquer this stuff. That would be our ambition, not at the start, but in general our direction. Now you might ask yourself, why is this called Nordmark and not called, well, Brandenburg as we know it? This is known to be because of our dynasty. Nordmark, it was known to be as Nordmark, and to a lot of generations after us. A lot. And was only changed a long time after the dynasty of the Ascania. Now, I don't know if I can find them. Let's just try. Because the dynasty of the Ascania were actually the one. Let's see if we can find them. I don't think so, sadly. Oh well, Ascania, I think those are them. No. Well, I think those are these are the Ascania, which then basically made out of Brandenburg, out of Nordmark, Brandenburg. Albrecht der Bär, or Albrecht the Beer, is the most important character out of that. He basically created the Duchy of Brandenburg and the Kurfürstentum of Brandenburg, or the Electorate. And I don't think we are a electorate in these times. Well, we are. Yes, we are. We actually are an elector in the Holy Roman Empire, which also makes us a very, very powerful guy. We will see how this is going to affect us. So yeah, this is little history break, character break. We also have two little vessels, Siegbert and Luda, but I don't think they're going to play a huge role. Maybe I'm going to look into them in the next episode, because we already hit the half-an-hour mark. And I don't want to torture you anymore with me just talking. I'm going to see you in the next episode, where we're going to take the first steps of gameplay. So, until then.